This is Daniel Smith from Jets Guru. Welcome to the show. All gas, no brakes. Let's go, Jets. Woo!
Can't wait.
You play to win the game. Hello?
Let's make sure we play like the New York Jets.
What's going on, Jets Nation? CJ the Painkiller D. Simone here, and you are watching Jets Guru. Now, give it up for your host, Mr. Daniel Smith!
I am thinking I'm back now. I'm going solo on the StreamYard. I'm out here renegading it. I'm doing the producer job and I'm doing the show job all at the same time. So hopefully I'm unmuted. We're trying to get you on Facebook, guys. Right now, I believe we're only just on YouTube, and we'll get that fixed. But for now, we're just on YouTube. Facebook will get you in a minute. But welcome back to Jets Guru. What a wild time it's been. New page, new setup. Glad to have you back. It's been a weird year, right? A lot of expectations last year for the New York Jets. And, I believe that this year we might have gotten it right. Last year was a disaster with the injuries. But as the year went on, and I think you can agree with me on this, guys, you saw the holes in the roster a little bit more. Like the Jets did once again a valiant effort coming out, playing good football, winning a few games to make you think that they were going to close out and be that playoff team before ultimately just falling off. And I think the Jets made a lot of mistakes. Putting all your eggs in one basket in Aaron Rodgers is what you should do when you bring in Aaron Rodgers. It makes sense. But you got to bring in a competent backup, knowing very well, one, you're the New York Jets, right? You're the New York Jets. You know this. You know your history of losing quarterbacks, and you didn't do that. And so then you had the young guy come in who struggled last year, who no one wanted to see play, and now he's here with the New York Jets, and you're sitting there going like, I thought Zach Wilson was going to be a developmental guy, and here he is playing. And then he played a lot better than he did last year, but ultimately not good enough. And there were plenty of backups in the league last year that did great for their teams. Jacoby Brissett, old Joe Flacco played well. There was a few guys out there that played very well as backups. And so for me personally, the Jets should have did a lot better of a job at shoring up the roster, especially a guy like Joe, who I think has brought that mentality from the Ravens and the Eagles over to the Jets. And depth is a big thing for this team, for those teams, and he's bringing it over to the Jets, and that's why I like what he's doing. Now, I know a lot of people were upset at what had happened during and around the draft, like one of them being John Franklin Myers leaving. And for me, guys, I wasn't really all that upset. I mean, and I think this is something that we're not used to as Jet fans. We're not used to it. We are just not used to having depth. So when we see players that we like, unfortunately, when we have to let them go, it's kind of like, why are you letting them go? We're used to the Jets piling on our favorite players and guys that we've seen stick around for a while and say, man, give him the money, let's go. And I'm with you. And I love fan favorites. And John Franklin Myers is a really good lineman. But at the same time, I think Joe made the right move considering what had happened. This isn't him just making a move and then like there's some bum waiting in the wings. This is Hassan Reddick that's going to be taking up this space contractually. Forget any type of going out there and taking up space and sacks and what have you. Just contractually, to pay Jonathan Franklin Myers in an already rotational type of line and defense, it just didn't match up. The Jets save almost $8 million with this move. And remember, I was really blown away, honestly, by Joe Douglas. Blown away. Because for me, he could have just went the I'm going to lose my job next year if we don't win route and try to really go out and make a statement, get a Brock Bowers to give Rodgers a weapon and just really go after the flashy moves. And he didn't do it. And I was happy that he didn't do it because he got some value out of this draft potentially. And everything is 50-50 because you don't know how it's going to hit. But I'll say this about the Jets draft. I will say this, guys. When you look at the New York Jets draft, this is a different team also than that we're used to seeing. This is a Jets team that's drafting for potentially the playoffs, deep playoff run, and more. This is a roster that has a lot of talent on it if it stays healthy. And so when you look at this team, this isn't a young Jets team that's drafting 10 and they won 5 games and they're hoping to improve and maybe make it to 500 next year. This is a team with Aaron Rodgers, rookie of the year candidate before he got hurt, a rebuilt line with Hall of Famers and Pro Bowlers on it, a defense that was number 1 last year. There's a lot of expectations for this team. We got Thomas Morstead, we got Greg DeLay kicking field goals. I mean, this is a solid roster where that is why I like how this draft was put together by Joe Douglas, because we're not looking for the flash. We got flash. Garrett Wilson is flash, dude. On any other team, he's still the number 1 slash 1A, 1B type of guy on most teams. This guy is a stud, and that's why he was rookie of the year, man. Like, we got to wake up here. We got our flash already. Wouldn't it be nice to have Tyreek Hill next to Garrett Wilson? Sure. I'm with you on that. I'm in agreement with that. I could do that. But that's not what we're talking about here. So I am happy to have Mike Williams on this team, a guy who can go up and get the football, can stretch the field. And the Jets made some moves in between in the draft that we'll talk about. So this is a different type of team that we're really honestly talking about here. Different team. And I hope you guys from Facebook are tuning in and jumping in and joining us. It's a different, unique way that we're jumping on, but hopefully we'll get it fixed where we could be on both accounts simultaneously. If not, it's going to be YouTube and how you're going to have to jump in. So the link is on Facebook now. But this is a different football team, guys. And so I'm not scared of any of these moves. A lot of these moves are depth. And I was surprised, like I said, that Joe Douglas went that route, looking future Jets, considering how if the Jets don't make the playoffs this year or win a playoff game, I don't know what the mandate is, but I'm assuming it's at least playoffs. There could be some blowing up here, especially if Aaron Rodgers decides to retire and it's just not a good year. There could be some blowing up here. So they're putting a lot of their chips in the basket of, hey, this is going to work out how we constructed it. Let's keep adding it so that way we could build for the future. And I was blown away because I'm like, all right, well, they're thinking about the franchise then. This GM and this coach is thinking about the long-term franchise, because we'll start off with Fashanu from Penn State. That getting a tackle there, like I said, he could have went flashy, but he went and he got an offensive tackle, a big, massive type of guy. I mean, it's not a sexy pick. It's not. But considering the Jets' offensive line woes, guys, don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time that we just go and get another guy and not have to put the pressure on this young man to come out here and protect Aaron Rodgers in his rookie year? If you don't do it, kid, we're going to fail. Everything's on you. No, Joe didn't approach it that way. He went out and got Tyrone Smith. He got an established Hall of Fame left tackle that still has some tread left if he could stay healthy, to give protection to this young rookie so he can learn behind this guy and not have the pressures on him. And honestly, if Fashanu was ready, if he was ready, Fashanu, I think he is. I think he could start if Smith was to go down. So for me personally, I have no problems at all with this pick because he does have an injury history. And then how about we just put it this way? Maybe you don't feel the kid's ready. You could still swing Barrett Tucker to the left side. That's still an option. So this line is very versatile. You have Moses that can do some different things. Like, this team is versatile where this kid is going to learn. You're going to be able to protect him. Now we can make some moves and do some different things if we have to. And I really do like it for the New York Jets. I know guys wanted flash. I think we have enough flash between our running back, our tight end room already. Listen, they're really high on Jeremy Ruckert. I don't know what to tell you guys. A lot of people aren't happy with it. Some people who really watch football know what this kid was capable of, okay, and why he was drafted for the Jets. And he's kind of been like slowly learning and putting it together, and he's really been picking up on blocking schemes well. This guy can potentially be an every down back tight end, and they really like him. The Jets really like Jeremy Ruckert, and that's why they were saying, let's get this tackle, let's shore up this line. What if one of these guys goes down? And you have to pivot and move somebody and do some different things. Maybe instead of sacrificing the kid, now you can move someone out, kick someone in, move someone out. I really like this move for the Jets. And again, this is a move because you have all the other weapons. You don't have to try to reach to try to get a weapon for Aaron Rodgers because you have enough. You're just filling in. You're a painter. You're filling in the last touches of the painting before you take it out there and say, hey, man, been with this team 5 years, 6 years plus now. This is all I got. Like, hopefully it's a playoff plus team. Hopefully I can get an extension and we can keep building this thing the right way. So for me, I have no problem with the Jets going with pick number 11 with Fashanu. And then moving into Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky, round 3, the Yak King. Listen, all these wide receivers for me, guys, are 50-50. I mean, I've gotten so excited about Jets wide receivers my whole entire life that for me, I got to see what they put together on the field before I get super crazy over the kid. His comps are Deebo Samuels. He doesn't have blazing speed, but he's a yak monster. This guy had like 150 missed tackles or something like that. Supreme yak. And that's going to be really good over the middle of the field in the slot where he'll primarily play. Get Garrett Wilson out of there. You had to use Garrett Wilson in the slot sometimes just to get him the ball, just to get some touches because your line couldn't hold up and your quarterback wasn't good enough to read the field, to be honest with you. He really wasn't. So for me, that was an excellent move. Garrett's going to stay outside with Mike. They're going to have Corley in the middle. This can be a really dynamic offense with the 2 tight end set, with Conklin, with Jeremy Ruckert, and then, a host of running backs that we'll get into. And this is the one I think, even more than John Franklin Myers, I think that kind of gave people like a head scratcher because it's like, why are we going running back when we already have a running back that we like? And then you went out and you drafted a running back and then went out and drafted another running back. Well, again, we got to look at depth for this football team. Breece Hall is the dynamic back in the fact that he could do it all. He is an every down back. But the Jets don't want him to be an every down back. And I know a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? Like, listen, they don't want this guy getting beat up and run down. The average lifespan of a running back, is like 4 to 5 years, and he's already had a major injury. They don't want to wear this kid down. They want to stretch out his potential. This is a kid that could take a screen and take it to house on any given moment, but he's also really strong. He could be a bruiser if he wants to too, and they want to just take some mileage off of him. So they drafted 2 bruisers in the goal line areas so Breece doesn't have to deal and push and do all that with his knees. Like, this is a very, very, very smart play by the Jets if you really look at it. And, of course, it puts pressure on the rookies, and I think that's smart because you saw when the Jets drafted Breece Hall how Michael Carter reacted, and the pressure changed him a little bit. And I was surprised because he played behind Javonte Williams at North Carolina, and he knew the whole dual back system. But I think Michael Carter felt, and I could be wrong. I don't know these guys personally, but just watching their play and their reactions on the field and then just their movement in and out, like, I just feel like Michael Carter felt like he had a real good place here with the New York Jets, and they found a way on how to use him properly. And he got banged up here and there, and it kind of stopped his momentum from really them giving him the keys as a number 1 back. Obviously, that's why he would drafted a little bit lower than his skill set. because of his small stature. And so when Brees came and he kind of started really hitting it off right away, I felt like you saw Michael Carter have a lot more drops and fumbles and just was like behind the eight ball. And then he wasn't playing with the first team as much as he used to, obviously, because a guy is taking your snaps and that can make you and tune down what you can do as well. And then you don't get into rhythm as well. So I think that putting pressure on young guys like, Adaconda, I think is good. And these two guys, and they're two different backs because I feel like he is more of a compliment to Brees Hall. Like that is more of the comp that if Brees was to go down, Abanikanda can come in and he could be the guy that could kind of spell Brees Hall with that speed slasher, that dump off, that screen type of guy, that outlet guy, that guy you could throw in a slot, that guy you could spread out wide, give you another option to beat a linebacker or a safety. I think he could give you that. That's not why these two young men were drafted in Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin, back-to-back running backs, fourth and fifth. Well, not back-to-back, but fourth and fifth round. And Isaiah Davis out of South Dakota State, very similar size. I believe Jalen's the bigger back, if I'm not mistaken. Braylon Allen's the bigger back. Both highly successful running backs, downhill style bruiser type of running backs, guys that can take some mileage off of you, and off of your big time running back down the stretch. And I think that's smart, guys. I think that's smart to take mileage off of Brees Hall. And I think they're going to be used very dynamically. And you got to remember, this is a team that, again, is filling in. They're not looking to replace Brees Hall. They're looking to supplement, give him some help. And you might have a lot of goal line situations. And why not have two bruiser backs over 6 foot, 220 pounds each, and you got your two tight ends in Rucker, 250, 6'4", and you got Conklin too. I mean, you could really muscle teams around with this offensive line and this kind of bruiser back package. I think this could be really good for the Jets in goal line scenarios. And also another chip backer. I mean, the running back is responsible on chipping those ends or those pass rushers that are coming and shooting in through the gaps. And so if they do this, I think Brees takes a lot of that. It takes a lot off of him to have these guys do that in third down. And you can still be smart about it, guys. Hey, we don't have to be conventional. We'll see how the Jets do it. Brees out in a scenario where you have him and one of these guys on the field at the same time because they're pseudo fullbacks in a way as far as size. And you don't know who's getting the ball. You don't know who's going to go out. And then you could pull Brees out into the slot. There's a lot of different things you could do with him. So I am not worried at all. I know Brees isn't worried at all. This is an all scheme-related, depth-related type of moves, and that's what they should be in the fourth and fifth round. Guys, I mean, it's nice to find a gem in the fifth, sixth round that winds up being your starting wide receiver and all that kind of stuff. That's great. I'm with you on that. But you also got to draft for depth, too. These guys are going to be special teams guys. I mean, I really like it. And then you go to quarterback, right? You go to Jordan Travis, quarterback out of Florida State, and this is such a smart move, guys. Jeez. I mean, seriously. Like, this is what the Jets I wanted to do with Zach Wilson last year, but they didn't get a backup quarterback. Boom. Jets fix that, okay. Get themselves a backup quarterback, guys. A backup quarterback. Can you believe that? Finally, a backup quarterback for the New York Jets. And that allows them to draft a developmental young quarterback out of Florida State. And Jordan Travis, 6'2", 212, speed inside, outside of the pocket. Not a great arm, but a good arm. Made a lot of smart decisions before he had that ankle injury, 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Was really on a nice little roll before he got hurt. And I believe that this is great because he's still coming back from the ankle injury. You went out and you got Tyrod Taylor, so you secured your quarterback room finally. You don't have to rush this kid. Aaron Rodgers might play a year or two, so this kid maybe plays the second to third year. Tyrod Taylor's there to back up, and he would only be used on an emergency or if it's the end of the year and you want to just get the kids some touches at the end of the year. Oh, thank you. That's what we've been asking for. Finally, that's the one thing that the Jets have been asking for this whole entire time is to get a backup quarterback. And if you're going to get a young guy, if that's what you're going to wind up doing, they go out there and seriously make it developmental, because the Jets have tried to go out time and time again, and it just fails constantly at the quarterback position. And I think sitting is the last time the Jets have had a good quarterback. Chad Pennington was the last real true good homegrown quarterback from the Jets, and he had time to sit and learn. And I think this is the way to go about doing that. So I'm very excited about that pick. It kind of fills in the whole roster, man. You got a whole group of nice young running backs. You got a whole roster of quarterbacks. You got a star, you got a veteran, and you got a developmental quarterback. You got a developmental tight end who you really love, you think is going to shine this year. You got a solid, legit tight end in Conklin. You've got a solid rookie of the year young star in Garrett Wilson. You got Mike Williams, who's explosive as well when healthy. You've got guys, Lazard, Corey Davis, potential backups. You went out and you got Corley in the slot, who's a yak machine. You repaired your offensive line with Fashanu. And then you also have Tyrone Smith starting, Moses on the other side, Simpson to replace the guard. You got your big boy in the center that you have. You got Vera Tucker. I mean, this is a good roster, guys. This is nothing to get upset about. This is excitement. This is something that you can really get down on. And we didn't even talk about the defense, which is absolutely outstanding. And we'll get into the defense another time, but we always talk about the defense on Jets Guru. I love the Jets defense. And then the Jets fill in the roster with guys like Quantez Stinger, the guy who didn't play college football, played a year in Toronto. Really good measurements. I think defensive rookie, the cornerback of the year out there. A developmental special teams type of guy. You never know. Same thing with, Mr. Irrelevant. The Jets finally got one. First time since 69. Jalen Key. And, again, these are all special teams fill-in depth guys. This roster's locked and loaded. It's ready to go. It's all about health. It's all about getting prepared. We got our special teams. We got our returners. We got our receivers, tight end, offensive line. We got our linebackers and corners we like. We got our safeties. The Jets roster is ready to rock and roll. We just have to pray no injuries, guys. So you guys in the comment section on Facebook, on YouTube, please tell me who your favorite draft picks. Did you think the Jets missed or not? What did you think about Jonathan Franklin Myers? Did you think that was a waste? For me personally, getting $7.9 million that you could spread out amongst your team later on, thinking about the future when you already have a healthy rotation, that doesn't bother me at all. And the two running backs, as I said in the draft coverage, you take that wear and tear off of Brees, especially late in the game, and you can use him in dynamic plays and dynamic moments without so much wear and tear. They're thinking about the player. They're thinking about the team. I absolutely love it. This team has to go out there and win. If they can go out there and put it together and win, then we're going to have ourselves a good time. It's going to justify everything that Joe has done, which he's done a lot of good things for the Jets, saved them a lot of value, a lot of money, and a lot of respect to get players here by not folding and caving like the Jets used to do all the time. He's made good draft moves and made good draft trades. He's made good free agent pickups, on the fly with given next to nothing. And remember, we are the New York Jets. It's not like players are just lining up to join our franchise with the amount of success and personal success for individual players here. But he's turned that around. The Jets have turned that around. They're ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to rock and roll. We're going to do so many different things on Jets Guru this year. Hopefully our page stays intact. That would be nice. But we're going to have merch, t-shirts, giveaways, meetups. I'll be at the stadium a lot of Sundays. If you guys see me out there, you see the beard with the glasses, hey, hit me up. I'm very approachable. Say hi. But in the meantime, share. Let's get our numbers back up again, man. We went from 5K fans to 0 fans because of stupid hackers. Let's show them that the Jets community is strong. As always, I support other communities across the Facebook and YouTube forums. I am not an enemy. I am a brother. Let's go Jets. 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 We'll do a calm one, right? We'll do like a really quick calm one just because we got baby sleeping and stuff right now, right? Family Guy, Jets Guru, right? In my old age, I went from a young man watching the Jets the last time he made the playoffs to family man. What do you know, right? But we're still out here supporting our Jets. Love you guys. Let's get out of here. Peace.